All right, we're down here at Melbourne at On Track 4x4, the creators of a lot of the mods we all have on our Y62 patrols. We have some exciting stuff happening to our car before we head off traveling full time. Let's get into it. All right, so what we have going on the front here is we have a whole new front diff housing. As you can see, it's got some nice billet flash stuff on the front here. This is actually to drop it a little bit because we're actually gonna be lifting the car about another 25 to 30 mil on the front. So this is a front diff drop for the front end, obviously. And what we have inside here is a Arb Air Locker. We were originally gonna go with the Arb Air Locker. We had that on order for maybe 3-4 months with COVID and stuff. A lot of parts on back order, and it actually rocked up last week, but it's a little bit too late. So we've gone with the Arb Air Locker because that was easy to grab. Air E-Locker, you know, everyone's got their preferences. I didn't really mind. I sort of did like the E-Locker a little bit more, but I guess the pros with the Air, it locks in straight away. With the E-Locker, can sometimes take half a turn to lock in. Yes, you can have problems with airlines, etc., but it's all too late. So that's what we got going on here. And we also have some cheeky diff gears in here, which we're going to talk about that shortly. So why are we putting the front diff lock in? The patrols come with the standard rear diff, which has been absolutely amazing. We've come from a Holden Colorado ute, which we actually flooded up in Cape York. And if I did have a rear diff lock, I reckon we probably would have got out of it. So for us, it's more so a bit about more safety, I guess. We're going to be going across the Kimberleys, a lot of water travel. So I'm a little bit nervous in water now. So with our van and that, we're taking a lot of money through water. So we've obviously got the V8, the rear diff lock's great, but I just love to have that front. And we do a lot of hard track still. So going up them hard tracks, having the front diff lock in, you don't have to go as hard over obstacles, all that rocky stuff. Avoid that bit of bouncing and, you know, breaking CVs. So for us, it's a bit more about just security, having that peace of mind. Now we've got the twin lock, the V8. If we do get stuck, well then we probably shouldn't be going through it. All right, so this has got me really, really excited. So we're very lucky to get a set of these upper control arms that Andrew's had made. Obviously all billet, so very, very strong and looks absolutely superb. So there's only been 8 sets of these made so far, and we're extremely lucky to be able to get a set actually given to us. Andrew from On Track is going to be giving this to us on the conditions that we need to make a donation to a charity of our choice. So we've got a couple in our mind that we're thinking of, but we want to have you guys helping us. So drop a comment below and give us some charities, give us some ideas, even some amounts. You know, we're not sure what sort of amount we're gonna do yet. We're gonna make it very generous. So chuck a comment below, give us some ideas, and we're gonna let you know. We're gonna reveal and obviously show the donation, whatever, once we get to that. So some of the benefits of these is it actually keeps the genuine ball joints and bushes, which is really good. And it's fully sealed with this cap on top. So no water, dust is gonna get in there. It's also, it's not greasable, so you don't have to be greasable. I know others have had sort of caps missing and all the dirt sticks around where you grease it and that. So there's none of that. It's also gonna help with the caster a little bit. And also it's actually gonna give you a little bit more room between your tire, the tire and the upper control arm, which we're putting a little bit bigger tires in this. We're going to a 325, 65, 18. So I'm actually a little bit nervous. We're on POS 30 rims. So I'm hoping with the extra clearance this gives us, it should fit on there nicely. So one of the main reasons we're changing the upper control arms today is for us, there's a lot of strength. We're going to be doing a lot of corrugations, a lot of off-roading. We're going to be living in the car and the Caravan. We're going to be in the Caravan, but the car is going to be with us full time. So strength is a big one for us. Also towing, with that bit of extra caster and the way this works, it's going to help us with when we have the load on the Caravan on the back of the car. Sometimes the wheels, when you go over a couple of little slight bumps on the highway, it gives that really light feeling in the steering. So we're hoping it's going to help a lot with that as well. All right, so about 70% of this is going to be for practicality of why we're going with these, and probably 30% is just a little bit for show, a little bit of that wank factor. So these look so cool, and it's going to add a lot of bling to the car. So another thing we're doing today to get ready for our travels around Australia is we're doing a transmission flush. So this is actually a little bit of a hit and miss if you do go to your Nissan dealer and ask them, as they actually say the oil in the transmission will last a lifetime, which I don't really agree that an oil can last a lifetime, especially if you are doing a lot of towing. Again, 90 to 95% of our travels is going to have the Caravan in tow. So the guys are going, this is every maybe 40,000 Ks. This is when you should be looking at doing it. So they're gonna fully empty it, fully flush it out, full service. So it's going to be nice and fresh for our travel. So it's peace of mind. I know a lot of other blokes that have had this done in the past have actually said they've had a little bit of sort of shuddering or a little bit of skippiness in the gears. So we actually did experience this maybe 3,000 Ks ago. It sort of just randomly happened, but it hasn't since. So that fresh oil is hopefully going to solve that, and it's also just that peace of mind that's knowing it's going to be good for our whole trip towing the van. All right, so one of the main reasons we come down to Melbourne is we're actually getting a Gvm upgrade. So we've got the boss man himself here, Andrew from On Track. He's going to explain to us, mate, why did you guys create the Gvm upgrade for the Y62 Patrol?
The sole purpose of the Gvm upgrade was we're finding cars were coming in weighing over excess their GVM, basically, with all the gear fitted to it. So rear bars, tanks, straws, all that sort of stuff. All the stuff we love packing in the cars and making our cars what we want them to be, basically. So the cars were exceeding their GVM without having any passengers in them. So we've basically come up with the concept, well, let's see what we can do. And we've consulted a few engineers, and we've been able to put a package together to take our GVM from 3.5 to 4.085.
Yeah, awesome. And what's involved in that? What do you sort of need to, I guess, qualify for a Gvm upgrade for the Patrol?
So to qualify, you need to have payload on the car, basically.
Yeah.
You can't really do it on a standard car.
Yeah.
Simply because the configuration of springs that we have to put in there is either a 2 or a constant 400 kilo spring.
Yeah.
To put that spring into a car that's in standard formation, so just a tow bar or nothing in the back, makes it very hard to bring our wheel alignment specs back into spec.
But these being independent, they are very sensitive to that, aren't they? With the wheel alignments and what weight, it's very sensitive, isn't it?
They are. So lift the car too high, and it makes things very hard.
Yeah, awesome. All right, mate, so what's actually involved with the Gvm upgrade? What do we need to do there? What's involved?
So basically the Gvm upgrade consists of our lift. So for guys who already have our lift and want to go to that next stage and they've added a rear bar or tank or etc., the extra bit that is involved is the rear billet arms and engineering.
Yeah, awesome. And obviously they're 400 kilo springs?
Either 200 or constant 400.
Okay, so you can go both,
either one, depending on the configuration that's on the car.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then this is just sort of Victoria for the Gvm upgrade we're dealing with here? Or is it options other way around Australia? Or?
At the moment, Queensland is a little bit out of the question.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for some more testing to be done for them.
Cool.
But otherwise, it's been certified in Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia, in the ACT and New South Wales.
Awesome. And is this something we need to get done in-house with the signing off, I guess? Like, I guess if you're living, I guess for us being in Mildura, if you're a bit more remote, like, is this something that needs to come, if you are in Victoria, does this need to come to you guys here at On Track?
No, we've got engineers pretty much all around the country that we can give you their details and we can consult with them on your behalf.
Yeah, awesome.
And we've also got fitters.
Awesome. Yeah, so any sort of good mechanic forward drive shop they can send this kit to them, the lift, the billet arms, all that. They got someone around the area to sign it off. Happy days.
Yeah, that's basically right. And we tried to make it as simple as possible, so we're not having to need all the specialty equipment that's involved.
Awesome. Well, there you go. All right, so another big change we're making today is we're changing up the diff gears. So we fitted 35-inch tyres on this thing, and mate, what exactly is the diff gear change going to do on this thing?
It'll basically bring the diff ratios back our tyre speed back to standard.
Okay, yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
so we're compensating for the bigger tyre.
Cool. And what are we going to feel there? Like a bit more of a like a power increase, I guess. It's going to feel like it was standard because it does take a little bit away from that initial sort of hit when you're going off the line.
Correct. So it'll increase that off the mark.
Yeah.
Feel.
Okay. Cool.
Also be better in low range.
Right.
It'll make it actually crawl slower.
Okay. Cool.
Because once you increase that tyre size, it actually wants to run away a little bit.
Yeah,
so
okay.
We're going to bring it back to standard.
Yeah, cool. One thing we've been noticing, I'm hoping this is going to fix, when we are towing and we get a fair bit of headwind, I'm noticing I'm in between, like, fifth sort of seems too much, and then I go back to fourth and it's sort of revving it a fair bit. Do you reckon this is sort of going to even that up a little bit? That's in manual mode too. I'm always towing manual mode, so.
Yeah, look, definitely recommend towing in manual mode all the time.
Yeah.
So much better for the automatic transmission and being able to control where it actually sits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have better control over it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's the only one thing. And also, the thing with the patrols, when you do try and tow and drive, it's hunting it. Like you hit one little hill and it's revving its tits off.
So many gears for it to choose from. And when it kicks back, it just wants to go into fourth, third from 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I guess and towing in manual mode, is that better for like temperatures and stuff with the transmissions, or what's the benefit of that? I guess.
Yeah, well, the transmission locks the converter up in the patrol.
Yeah.
Like this Land Cruiser, you actually need to add a lockup kit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So by locking the converter, it actually cools all that temperature in the oil down.
Awesome. Yeah, and we generally tow. We've played around with a lot. We usually find ourselves towing in fifth. Maybe sometimes sixth if it's down a hill, but definitely don't go seventh with manual mode towing. Or there's a lot of misinformation about that. Does it really matter?
There's lots of gears.
Yeah.
Jammed into a little box.
Yes. Yeah.
Basically, so as they've progressed over the years from the 4-speed to the 5-speed to 6-speed, now 7, they keep jamming more things in there.
Yeah.
So things get smaller.
Yeah. So
try and stay in the high.
Yeah, and play around with it. Everyone's different tyre size, different weights, different vans. It's very different, but
exactly. And my experience is I've always stuck to 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what we found. We found that as well. So no, that's awesome information. All right, so we're back home after being on track 4x4 down in Melbourne, and wow. The service and the quality of work from these guys was absolutely top notch, and what a difference these modifications made. Number one being the diff gear. So once we left on track on our way home, we're towing the Caravan, of course, in a massive headwind. So as I mentioned earlier on the episode, the biggest problem we sort of had was when we were towing in a headwind. Originally we'd be in 5th gear, we'd sort of be at 100 kilometers an hour. It'd slowly go 99, 98, 97. It just couldn't really hold that speed. Had to click back to 4th gear, and it sort of felt like it was too much. So massive headwind, and we could hold that speed in 5th and even 6th gear as well. So that was an absolute big win for me. It helped a little bit in the fuel economy, nothing much because it was a big headwind, but more so just I could have it there, have it on cruise or whatever, and not be stressing about that. So that was a massive win. Even without the van in tow, you could notice a lot of difference. Nothing is going to blow your wig back, but more so to that first little initial takeoff off the lights. Again, it just really feels like it was standard again. So obviously with that, the wheel speed, it's just going to be back to them standard ratios, which is a massive win. The other thing we noticed, we just come back into Madura here, we quickly put the front air locker on, which is another thing we added in. But the first thing we noticed was in low range, it really slowed that ratio down. Where low range before really felt the car was wanting to get away from you, it sort of had that jerky sort of feeling. It felt really slow. So I feel like we're going to have a lot more control. It's going to make a massive difference on the track. So I can't wait to get out there, get in some big articulation, some big rocks, big hills, and really see how this locker and diff ratio is going to help out on the tracks. Another massive, really big improvement I've noticed is from these Billet upper control arms. Now, again, like I said before, the number one thing we had when we were towing, the front end can feel really light in these. And when we hit a couple of bumps along the high of the Caravan on, the steering wheel would sort of go with it and the car would sort of get the shakes up a little bit. These upper control arms completely stop that. So in saying that, I could feel the rear sort of do it still a little bit, but I had full control of the steering wheel. So obviously it felt a lot safer and a lot more in control, and this was a drastic improvement. We went 30% stiffer in the front spring, and which gave us a little bit more height in the front, which is a big win for me. Again, having the dash bar, the winch and that, it's not a massive increase on this, but if you were going to be chucking the ARB bar, you know, the big heavier bars, the heavier winches, a bit more accessories, this would be definitely a good mod you have to do, which has to go to either to on-track 4x4, because there's not many people around there. Obviously the HBMC system has to be fully decompressed, spring out, all that. So it is quite a bit of a job that not every single four-wheel drive servicer can do. I was kind enough to throw us in some of their on-track 4x4 recovery points, which we didn't have. We had just the standard ones, which you know, which aren't proper rated recovery points. Been saying that we never really used it, but be able to travel Australia with the Caravan on. The carbon winch, you know, they're a great winch, but they don't have the biggest amount of balls to them. So if we were to have the Caravan on, we would have to do a double line pull. So really excited for these, and I really like how they stand up a bit more. I know there's some other ones out that we've seen. They really sort of hang down, and for us, we do a lot of rock stuff, so I think we'd be giving them a hard time. So extremely excited to have these on and try them out. Not only do they look friggin' unreal, but these rear billet arms are so much stronger. We had the Gvm Upgrade done here in Victoria, which was no dramas. When we got home, we simply just took the little certificate sheet into Vic Roads. They changed it there and sighted the sticker. Happy days. So that was a really smooth process. So we're now rated for 4,085 kilos, which is good because we were only just over our GVM. So we're packed up, ready to leave this weekend, traveling full time around Australia. So the car, 140 litres of petrol, obviously all the mods you can see. Me and Mikhail, the dog, tools, fridge full of beer. The heaviest we're going to be with 3,570 kilos on the weighbridge. So just over. Obviously you've got to add your ball weight onto that, and again, I'm not going to get too much into this, but this can be confusing as hell with the patrols. So my understanding of it is I'm going to go by the sticker if it's on my car. I know different series is a difference. So our ball weight with the bike on with the van was 313 kilos. Without the bike was 239 kilos. So again, that's full 300 litres of water. We reloaded it up. We did this at Lotus Caravan, so it's absolutely spot on. And the van was 3,488 kilos, again, fully loaded. That's the heaviest we're going to be. So our weights have worked out to be absolutely perfect, which is a relief for us. And that's gonna make us right on our GCM. Even if we did have that full, we put a bit more weight on the van, just if we were to have extra bits of wood and you know, water or whatever on board on the back, we would actually be 50 kilos over our GCM. So we're never going to be at that weight, but it just goes to show you how quick, if we would have a couple of kids or another adult coming with us, we're 100, 200 kilos over our GCM. So really pays to do your weights and make sure you're nice and legal. With the changes we made in the rear, it's made the overall ride quality absolutely amazing while we're towing. The guys actually put a little bit of a taller rubber block in the bottom of the spring and the lower control arm there. Reason being, just to close up the gap. When you see the airbags on these things, they've sort of got a lot of gap before they're actually hitting the bottom of the lower control arm. So beforehand, you'd sort of pump the airbags up. It'd give you a little bit of height, but it's more so just pressing the bag out into that spring, which is going to be stiffening your spring, which is what you want. But we also want some more height. So by putting that taller block on the bottom, the car's actually raised up a bit more. So we're sitting totally level while towing, which is ideal. So with these modifications, we are totally happy now with this ultimate setup. So we're adjusting our weights, we're nice and legal, which is good to know. For us, the way this car is now, this is our ultimate setup to tackle the tough tracks we do, the corrugations, and a lot of the bitumen, because to get to these dirt roads, you need to travel on bitumen. So 90%, 95% of the time now, we're going to be towing. This thing is set up ideally for us, and we cannot wait to get out there and travel Australia with this new setup. All right, we're going to wrap the episode up there. I hope you got a lot of value from this episode. If you haven't, give the guys the On Track 4x4 a call. We'll chuck the phone number down here for you if there is some still things you're still not sure. Nobody knows these cars better than these guys. They've literally created the lift kits. A lot of the parts that we're all using our four-wheel drives, these guys are created them from scratch. So they know these things inside and out. We're going to be traveling full time this thing literally the day after we post this video. So follow us along. You're going to see where we're going to put these things. Again, we're going to be covering all of Australia in our Y62 patrols. So we're so excited to get out there and have you along with the adventure. So hopefully we'll see you out in the guys track and hope you enjoyed. Catches.